Okay, as we're going live, I'm going to bring in an angel that is like my best friend who passed away last year. And there's a connection here with Andrea Beaman and how I got connected with Andrea Beaman. And my best friend passed away from cancer, this beautiful, beautiful woman. And I got to be there, and she opened up so many special healing tools I had in my hands, and how I was able to vocalize and support her. And she leveled me up to a space that I explored and exploded even more in who I was. Backtrack 10 years ago. Oh no, 13 years ago. My friend Anna, she said, we need to go to health coaching school. And I said, what? That much money? She goes, oh, it means nothing. It means nothing. We're going to take care of our family. But, we're going to have a rocking business too. But first, I get to take care of my family. Rhonda, you've been personal training and doing these things. You know that you want to know more about this stuff. Well, the school that I decided to say yes to because my beautiful friend Anna said we need to do this she was in Truth. Institute for Integrative Nutrition changed my life. And Joshua, who created this, he brought me another angel, but she's here right now, which is really cool. And this angel, her name's Andrea Beaman. And I get to see her light ignite up all the time. I've invited her in to help me with my thyroid journey, but we learned that it wasn't just a thyroid journey, because as you're going to hear through Andrea Beaman's vocals, it's really the truth about the whole body really is a full flowing fluid system. And when you start looking at it that way, you don't start attacking something that's already being attacked within inside our body. How can we give love to our body? I love you. And your body to be able to purr. I think of it as purring. Purr, purr, purr. You love me. And your body starts calming down to the nervous system, down to the cell level of all those million cells that you receive every day. Andrea Beaman came into my life 13 years ago, and I wrote a book, and I asked Andrea Beaman all these questions. In my book, my first book, The Fit Solution. This book gave me the inspiration to ask a woman that helped me start cooking in my kitchen where I never did. I never cooked in my kitchen. I was afraid of food and cooking. I was afraid of food. I didn't think that vegetables were sexy. I thought vegetables were vegetables. But vegetables, it awoke me. It started my healing. And something that awoke in me started my healing at a level that Andrea Beaman was able to do, not just in the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, but she also rolls with wonderful programs. Andrea Beaman has this vision of what's happening in this world right now. And I want to get to one of those questions. And if you have any of those questions you want to ask her, please do, because she has the pulse on something that she's been in the industry for years. So I'm going to ask a question to support you on that, because the global vision here is so important because she's out there virtually. One of the things that she has been able to do is really display her culinary skills as a holistic foods chef. She was on Top Chef, and she has no experience in going to a cooking school before this. She's teaching and guiding people to be able to say, hey, this goes with that. Using food and herbs, it tastes scrumptiously good. And she was talking about that. Well, she was playing with Top Chef, and then she did her own show, and it became an award-winning show. One of the questions I asked her, I don't know, it looks like 10 years ago when I was looking at my emails today, but it was probably 11 years ago. I was asking her, because I want to understand everybody out there with the business in the holistic wellness industry. It really doesn't matter what industry you're in, because this is going to serve you so much in your knowing that you want to get in alignment more and more each day. I said, how did you prepare for such big challenges as being on TV and cooking competitions like Top Chef? Andrea said, well, you can't actually prepare for something like that. Now, what I'm going to answer here is, when you feel Like I don't have that information. I can't figure out how to do it, but I want to do it. I can feel it's me. It's going to answer you here. And if you feel like limited today, you can't see it, but you feel that glass wall, let's go here. You just have to step up and do it. If you let fear get in the way of doing something, you'll never get to anything. I don't want to look back on my life and say, yeah, well, I could have done that, but I didn't think I had enough skills. The key to living an amazing life is to do all the things that present themselves. So everything present itself. You don't have to sit out in the back and build a program or build these things because you know that's where you lose the energy. Yeah. She's saying step out there. If you feel it, give yourself that creative pulse and trust yourself. She says, actually, you could study the art of swimming, but until you actually get into the pool, you won't know how to do it. You have two choices, sink or swim. What inspiring thing, because just that in itself, it tethers on everything we're talking about here. And Andrea Beaman is a person that's on Top Chef. She's had her own shows and award, winning an award. She also has thyroid programs. She has business stuff that she does. She's out there. She does live video. And when she does live video, you know what she does? She's not selling herself. She's answering tons of questions. She is my kind of mama. She's out there serving. And I want to present Andrea Beaman. Appreciate you, my friend. I'm so happy you're here.
Oh, thanks, Rhonda. And thanks for that memory. Oh my gosh, that was 11 years ago. Or even longer.
Can you believe that, Andrea? Because time goes by so fast.
Yeah.
And while we're kind of starting in this space, can you share with me just like what's been like today? Give me some information. Like today, how has your day been? How have you been able to get yourself in alignment to get prepared with an interview like this? Maybe you've done a couple, whatever. But how do you get yourself prepared in your everyday?
Okay, so first and foremost, I get up every morning and I have a very similar routine on a daily basis. Like I wake up and I'm out of the bed and I'll either journal my thoughts. Oh, this happened. I had a dream about this. This is what happened yesterday. This is what's going on. Like I just get all of the stuff out of my head. This is what I need to do today, right? Just to clear the space, right? To clear the brain from all of the stuff. And then every day, probably 9 times out of 10, I meditate. Right? It's been part of my experience for the past 25 years where I sit and I'm quiet and I breathe and I just get into my body and into my mind and into my spirit, or maybe I get into my body and out of my mind. Because the mind can make you go crazy. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do this. So instead, I journal it all out, get it out of my head. And then I go into my body and I connect. And I connect with my physical body, my emotional body, my spiritual body. And then when I'm done with that, I can get to work. You know, what do I got to do? I got to make breakfast. I got to get ready for my meeting, right? So Monday is one of the busiest days for me. So I have my team meeting on Monday mornings at 11. And this is where we discuss, okay, we need to do this email. We're going to work on this program. We got to get this going, right? It's the mapping time of the week where I'm mapping what has to be done so that can get off my noggin as well. Because if this is crowded with all of the stuff that has to be done, then I can't actually create any content. I can't create, like, there's so much stuff happening in the world, you know, like I could write 100 articles a day on all the stuff that's going on in the world, you know, because it's just, I think we're living in the land of crazy, but I like to clear my space so that I'm very clear on what I do need to present to the world and what I want to present to the world and what resonates with me in my heart.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And so it's getting in check, getting the business going, getting out of the crazy, the fight or flight.
Yep.
Oh, Andrew, we already have some questions here, but I want to tell you, everyone, I'm watching them come through, and I am so excited, and I'm going to make sure that I get more connected with you, but I'm watching and I'm seeing there, and we're going to go into this next level, and I'll check out some of your questions too. Andrea, when you started feeling that our body has a spot of being able to heal itself, I 100% believe this. Was there a specific event that happened for you where you were understanding there's something in truth that inside my body, if I'm doing and acknowledging, and I'll give you the space to explain that more, that I'm not going to take that let's go to the medicine too. I'm not going to go take that thyroid medicine. So I'll give you a chance to kind of share how you want to with that. But I really know that there's something there. There's something there. Can you give some story around that for us?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a great question. So I think, or I believe, right? Because I don't have any hard facts, scientific evidence, right? I don't have the science. So you go to the medical community, you gotta have the science for everything. I believe intuitively that the physical body is the vehicle for the spirit. And when we're in our physical body, it's going to talk to us and it's going to say, hey, I need you to look at this area. I need you to look at that area. I need you to look at this over here. So for me, my journey inside the body started with my thyroid condition, right? So the thyroid was out of balance. And my doctors had recommended radioactive iodine to destroy my thyroid and then be on medication for the rest of my life. But it didn't make any sense to me. This thing was speaking. It was saying something. Hey, you're out of balance. Internally, externally, you're out of balance. You're out of alignment. You're not you're not connected, or your connection is weak, or it's not a good connection, right? It's like when I grew up in the 70s, right? So you had a television, and when the television had a weak connection, you had to adjust. You had to adjust the antenna on the top of the TV, right? You'd have to turn it, right? Or turn it like this or move it on, right? And then the connection got better. So I feel like the body is the vehicle that's housing the spirit that's connected to the entire universe. And we get these hits, whether it's intuition or inner knowing or whatever it is, but it's speaking to us. And in Western medicine, they say, shut that body up, take this body part out, put this medication in here, shush it, don't, the heart's having heart palpitations, would stop the heart palpitations instead of why is the heart palpitating? What's making the heart nervous? For me, it was thyroid. Well, what's going on in the thyroid that's speaking to the body and saying, hey, I need to express this. I need to speak about this, instead of swallowing all the stuff, internalizing all of my stuff that I was experiencing. So for me, making that choice to not take medication and not destroy my thyroid, but to do it naturally using food and herbs and consciousness, it was like a very quick, yeah, I don't want the medication. I don't want to destroy my thyroid. I think there's some things I need to work on. And it didn't come from out of the blue. It came from observation of watching my mother go through the experience of breast cancer in the 1980s, maybe in the 70s. First time she had the cancer, it was in the early 80s. And at that time, they took the whole breast off. They took out all the lymph nodes. They literally, goodbye. And then they said, oh yeah, the cancer's clear. Don't worry about it. But then 11 years later, right, because she had radiation, which pushes the cancer deeper into the body and into the bones. So 11 years later, she had cancer everywhere. So it didn't make sense. Well, how could she have the cancer when they took the cancer off, right? Took all of her lymph nodes. How could she have the cancer come back? So it had to come from somewhere else, right? It had to come from something she was eating, something in the environment, something in the body out of balance, right? But they weren't looking at those other spaces. So it was like a huge wake-up call for me to watch my mom go through those treatments. And it just planted the seed in my mind that if something happens to me, I'm going to try alternative first. I'm going to say, what is the body saying? What do I need to change? What do I need to look at and heal this thing naturally? And that's exactly what I did. And that was, oh my gosh, that was not initially 1996 when I first got diagnosed. So, you know, we're now what? How many years later? 23 years later? Oh, no, it's more. Oh my gosh, 1996. So it's like 27 years later, you know, so it's a long time that I've been outside of the medical establishment. And I'm not saying that the medical establishment is bad, but they have been corrupted on the inside and educated on the inside to shut the body up, to shut the human up, to shut the experience, shut that experience down. Give the medication, do this, take out this body part, 10 feet of your intestine, gallbladder, goodbye, breast, goodbye, colon, goodbye, right? Everything, goodbye. Like, let's just rip the body apart without understanding what's happening in here. So I think that the medical establishment is very, very good at putting a body back together after it's been broken, right? You fall down the stairs, you go to the hospital, you don't go to the health food store. But beyond that, prevention and listening to the body and hearing what it's saying. Oh, I got an ache here. Oh, I got a little pain here. Oh, this thing is maybe not functioning well. I'm not going to the bathroom on a daily basis. What's going on inside this system? So we need to start to love the body that we're in, listen to the body that we're in, hear what it's saying, and then go to the people that you think can support you. So I'm not like a solo operator out on the cliff by myself. When I feel that my body's out of balance, I'll make adjustments, but I will certainly reach out to my healers. I got an energy worker, I got an acupuncturist, I got an herbalist, I got a flower essence practitioner, a shaman. Like, these are the people in my wheelhouse that I trust with my health and wellness. Right? I trust them that they're looking at my body from a holistic perspective rather than looking at my body as if it's on a conveyor belt in a system. Oh, this isn't working. Well, let's take this out, put this little part in. Like, it's a different perspective. So I encourage people to, first and foremost, to listen to their body. Is it out of balance? Are you not feeling well? Then go deeper. And if you don't want to go deeper, that's your choice. But I encourage people to go deeper, listen, and then support it in a way that you harmonize with, that you're in alignment with. You know, like sometimes if I get like an ache or a pain or something going on, my husband's like, you know, you really need to go to a doctor. And I'm like, maybe not. Maybe. I've been like, what, 27 years out of that industry. So far, I'm doing okay. I think I'm going to stay on the outside, because when I was on the inside, you know, when I was in that revolving door and growing up in that revolving door, it was, okay, this is going on. You got a sore throat. Here's these antibiotics. You got an infection. Here's another round of antibiotics. Oh, now you got this going on. Here's another round of antibiotics. Oh, now here's this medication. And it's a revolving door that just keeps you coming back for more medication and eventually deeper and deeper issues. So that's the long story.
It's usually the opposite. Like, that's the short story or the long story. No, usually, no, that's the long story. I'm gonna give it all to you.
I'm giving it all.
Andrea, when I was 29 and got on thyroid medicine, I know I was really sad. I was like, wow, I have to take this medicine. I've been working out. I didn't recognize. I was afraid to sleep, so I'd sleep sometimes 2 hours. If I was lucky, my body would get 6 hours in. At 29, big ego. Had tons and tons of energy. So I kept beating at my body, saying, my body can handle that. My body can handle that. So it was a big ego that to take this little pill, which told my thyroid, stop working. 20 years being on that. And then transitioning off that, my body didn't know how to handle that. And to use your approach and our approach in this holistic, beautiful health journey is like preventative wellness. that I started listening, but I wanted your guidance because it's hard because we get in our way. So, I mean, I can use tools, but I need to keep learning too, because after 20 years of being on medicine, your body dysfunctions in some way. It's like, I don't know what to do. Hello. So we had to wake it up. So I love your conversation about this because it's wonderful to know that if I do the wellness side, oh, I have an ache here. Well, I don't want to be told that, I knew from people like, I didn't know I was sick, even though there was a reoccurring ache. So listening to that wellness side, it does such a preventative thing. It's amazing that we know this stuff. Like, people are asking stuff about, well, don't we have to go this route, which would be the Western, because the doctor said that at 29, I thought I had to. I thought that was the only way. So everybody that's listening right now, ask your questions. I have some people here. Ask your questions out, and I'll layer that in somewhere. But if you're feeling something that Andrea said, I want to share some more stuff. But Andrea, before I get to my next question, Sarah Ellen, thank you, Sarah Ellen, for being here. She already told me she was so excited that you were going to be here. She's going to try and share the link to Health is Wealth community. Sarah, thank you. So nice. Iris King is here. Hi, Andrea. That's what she said.
I love
and then
Iris.
then Andrea is an angel. She is the bestest. Yvette Brackett, I am really looking forward to hearing Andrea today. Yvette even instant messaged me and said, "Where's the link? Where are we at?" We're like, that thing. So like, I know, Yvette, aren't you as excited as I am? I mean, I bet all we are. We all here. Amba Marie Dreig said, if I said that right, hopefully I did. Love her smile. I do too. Amba, something about Andrea that we want to take in within ourselves is you see how Andrea Beaman shines. That's what is for everybody. So when you go internal and you build that aura, oh my gosh, isn't this woman incredibly beautiful? Like everywhere I see her, and the way that Andrea, now I'm talking like Andrea's not here. Move off to the side for a minute, Andrea. But the way that Andrea holds space is that she laughs and she shares stuff that's very, very intense. But when you are with her, you don't get all these diagnoses. Well, she might say, oh, you might be getting rheumatoid arthritis. She'll throw some stuff out there because you understand the grid in Western medicine. There's these things happening, so you can label it. But even a no diagnosis and feeling pain, that's an attention grabber. Don't wait till somebody tells you you're sick. And that's what Andrea Beaman's aura is like, I have the confidence that I got this. When I have really extreme pains, I'm going to think about, what is my body talking about? That's what we're talking about right here today. Iris King said, woohoo, 3 cheers for Andrea.
Hey, you want to hear a quick story?
Yeah.
So we just dropped off my nephew at college last Tuesday. And on Wednesday, he had a bellyache, right? A stomach ache that came in, and it lasted for a couple of days. So I told him, I said, it could be change of environment. It could be that you're now drinking new water because he's went from New York to Connecticut. Could be new water. It could be the new room, the new environment. Could be the new bedding. It could be the new food. Like everything has changed. I said, just be patient with your body. Right. So by the 3rd day that he was there, he said, oh, the pain in my stomach is not good. He said, I think something's going on. So I, first of all, was so glad that he came with his questions. And he said, I'm going to take you to the store with me, FaceTime. I'm going to take you to the store with me. I'm going to show you what they have available in the college. So they had all of these supplements and herbs and vitamin C and all that stuff. And in the background, his friends were saying, listen, you got a stomach ache. You got to take the Tylenol because you have all this pain. You have to take the Tylenol to get rid of the pain. And Philip kept saying, no, that's not going to fix the problem. It's just going to dull the pain. And I was so proud of him. He's 18 years old and he's standing in that space of, no, I know that there's pain. I understand that. And he had like 4 kids around him. No, take the pain reliever, take the pain reliever. And he's like, He's like, no, something is going on inside my gut. Maybe, he's like, maybe I got a bug, maybe, right? He's trying to go through all this stuff. So in the end, like I gave him a whole bunch of stuff to take with him. So like golden seal and yellow dock and all these herbs. And within a couple of days, the pain was gone. And he called today and he's like, oh, I'm feeling brand new and I'm going to go work out and all this stuff. Because he didn't just dull the pain. He didn't just shut his body up. And he also fasted. He took food out because he said, I'm feeling pain in my gut. So something was irritating his gut, his intestinal mucosa, his lining, whether it was a bug or it was a new food or whatever it was. And he just gave his body a break. And it was only like a 24-hour break. And then he went to soups and light foods and it healed, right? Whatever it was. So I think that kids, if they were taught this stuff in school, instead of what every commercial is selling them, oh, you got pain, take this thing, take that thing. But the body, the pain is an indicator that something's going on. It's like if you get a splinter in your finger, and if that splinter gets infected, right? As soon as you touch that finger, it's always going to have pain. Now, you could certainly take a painkiller, but it's not going to get to the infection in your finger, right? So then you have to like soak your little finger in like some strong solution or some green tea or a natural, like something to disinfect it, to get to the infection, right? So, it's two ways of looking at it. So let's say you don't get to that infection. Well, then you're going to get a deeper infection. Right? If you just kill the pain, right? You're just going to get a deeper infection. And then, God forbid, it turns to sepsis, right? It gets the infection in the blood, right? So I'm pro listening and then making adjustments. But go ahead. I'm sorry. People have questions. That was just a quick story. None of my stories.
That was a long story. Andrea, with taking care of your nephews and your journey, I really appreciate you. I know that the journey that you've been through you've talked about it quite a few times, and what a strong spirit you are, and leaning in on like, hey, what's that purpose? How am I learning from that? And I know that in our community, we talk about like this mindset stuff, and being able to find transformation, and I call it mindset transformation entertainment. It's like entertaining that space of being able to start listening, and your story was perfect in alignment with that and how to work that. Beautiful. Andrea, with there I think there's another question coming through, but in this industry, you spoke of Western medicine and numbing something relative to this journey that some people really like mainstream because of the way that school works and the way the mainstream goes. There's some difficulties or some things that can happen along the way when you're running a holistic wellness business, or you're speaking about the stuff you're speaking about. Doing this for so many years, what do you find? This will help our community too. Where do you find that where your struggles have been? What are your journey where you're finding some real, people are getting more aware of stuff? Could you share that with us?
Yeah, so I've had struggles like throughout my entire journey building my business. It hasn't been like, oh, open the door and here come all the people. There's been little bumps in the road along the way all the time. So I remember when I was first starting my business, I love writing articles and I love speaking my voice, and that's part of healing my thyroid condition. And I remember years ago, oh my gosh, maybe 15 years ago, when I was writing articles on cancer, right? I would get people attacking my website, you should be, it's witchcraft, you can't, you should be, they should take you off the internet, like all this stuff, like 15 years ago. It was censorship back then, except they couldn't actually censor you back then. Today, they can censor you pretty quickly. But back then it was still, people had a different idea, or I don't even know if, I think it's just the indoctrination, right, of people, where their mind is down one neural pathway of this is the only way, this is what was told in medical school, and this is what the mainstream media, like you just said, this is what the media or the legacy media, that's your basic news stations, are presenting to the world as the healing. I can't use the word cure, by the way. As a natural health practitioner, if I use the word cure, C-U-R-E, and say that, oh, take vitamin C to cure respiratory infections, or vitamin D, they can take me out of existence. They could shut my entire business down. And that's the truth. I had a friend, Jason, who he had healed his brain cancer using lateral therapy, which was apricot seeds. Like, he did a lot of stuff, but he was using these apricot seeds. And this was back in the 90s. And they put him in jail. They literally put him in jail because somebody used the word cure on his website. And he was in jail for like 3 years or something like that. And I think it's criminal. It's criminal because, there's so many ways to heal the body, but there's this, it's like a veil that's put over natural healing and alternative healing that we're, like we were called, 20 years ago, like, actually, no, 200 years ago, witches, hang the witches in the town square. They're talking about using elements from the earth for healing. And that was the rise of the medical establishment. So over the years, like, things that I have said have been controversial. So I think that most of the things that I've encountered over the past 20 years, I've had my business since 1999. So it's 99 to that's a long time.
Andrew ate herself.
I've had it for 100 years already. But, like, a lot of the stuff that I've encountered is either from the indoctrination of the Western medical establishment that has taken over the entire world, or from people that have been indoctrinated into that system and they think that this is all witchcraft. And it's funny how that's still around. Like, even the word witchcraft is still around. And that's crazy to me. But beyond that, like, when things like that would happen, my husband used to say, like, especially on social media, my husband used to say, oh, you should kick those people off your page, and you should do, and I'd always say, no, I want them to have their voice. I want them to speak and say what they want to say and give them the freedom to voice their opinion, just as I have the opinion to voice my stuff. I have the freedom to voice my stuff. So I wanted it to be equal both ways. But nowadays, the biggest hurdle is that there is no, like I said, 20 years ago when I was talking about cancer, they would say, oh, you should be pulled off and put into jail, but they couldn't actually do that. Right? But now the censorship is getting much bigger and stronger. Okay. And they take you right off the internet, gone goodbye, you're shut down. And not only that, but I mean, coming, like, you could see what's coming, you could see what's rolling out, which is bizarro to me that people are even allowing this to happen. That the World Health Organization is the end all be all for anything that has to do with health and wellness. And I'm looking at just the past 3 years alone, and I'm like, I would not let them choose anything for me for health and wellness. I think that they are like dinosaurs in their understanding of health and wellness. But actually, if I think about it, they're not really dinosaurs. They just, like, they have their thing that they're presenting to the world, that this is the way and this is what you have to do. But there's a purpose to it. Like, when you open this, you says, like, we have our purpose. They have their purpose too. And I think their purpose is literally to corral the entire population into this one world government and one world health. And that's not going to work for everyone. Yeah. It can't. Like, my body's different than your body's different than my husband's body's different than the kid's body. Like, we all have our own needs. And, I think that we're heading toward real bumpy times for holistic health practitioners. But if we band together and if we stay strong and stand in our truth, I think that bump will be a little less dramatic,
Yeah.
and I don't know if I actually answered the question, but like there's always bumps along the way, Rhonda. And you just have to navigate those bumps and then regroup and say, okay, let's try this. And you keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, I think that there always is going to be some type of thing that you have to overcome.
Yeah, I feel that. I'm really sitting with what you're saying, and I feel that so much. So breathing that in, allowing everybody to kind of eat that, dissolve that information there, because you brought in so many essentials of us, working globally with all us out there, looking for how can we heal in an area before we actually find out that we have something that takes a little bit longer to take care of, So how can we do that? How can we learn about these things? And so I want to make sure, well, we got the link out there for you and through Be Connected and also through Facebook for people to connect with you and in your new community, which we're going to talk about that. One thing that was brought up, because people are just saying how much they love you.
Oh.
I know I love Andrea Beaman too. You do have some books out there talking about you healing, and I mean you're definitely known as a thyroid expert because you've been out there in the forefront and dealing with. I've seen some posts, some comments on some of your stuff, and I go, breathing that in, like, wow, you are working through this beautiful crusade of like, hey, there's alternatives. What's wrong with that? Be connected. I see some more people coming in. Ask your questions. I'm here for you, my friends. Yvette was asking, can you talk? I don't know if there's something specific you want to say about just like thyroid and awareness, or some kind of a thing that you like to talk about that is, like, no, not an hour class, but something that you can share about how beautiful this thyroid journey is, and maybe some tips or whatever you feel you want to do to close this off before we have to say goodbye to you.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so thyroid, I feel like anyone that has a thyroid condition right now, I feel like this is your opportunity to speak to what's happening in the world, but also your body's ability to speak to what's happening to the earth and to the things that are going into the body, right? So it's an internal, external experience. So, and I go back to the 1970s. In the 1970s, tonsillectomies, where they would take out the tonsils, was so common. They were just taking out tonsils left and right. But the body at that time was saying, hey, something's not going right on this planet here, right? That the stuff that is coming into the body is causing a reaction in the immune system, where the immune system is coming on guard and saying, hey, something's not right here. Something's coming into the physical body that's designed to be on the earth that is upsetting the immune system. And at that time, in the 1970s, we started liberally spraying pesticides on all of the produce, right? All of the whole earth, right, was getting covered with pesticides. So pesticides negatively impact the endocrine system, right? And they also negatively impact the body. And, like they're directly connected with cancer. I mean, the fact that they're still spraying it on everything is bizarro, but that's business. So at that time, the creative chakra, or the fifth chakra, the ability to express ourselves and express our truth, was talking. And in Western medicine, they said, okay, nip this in the bud, take these tonsils out, goodbye. Right? It didn't actually heal anything, right? But it took the warning signal, the warning place out of the immune system. And today we know, don't take the tonsils out, right? 99%, they're leaving them in today. So now, over the past 10 years, we're having a very similar event happening. And it's thyroid disease is popped up to the forefront very strongly. And again, once again, this is our connection to our ability to speak our truth as gardeners on this planet, right? Or inhabitants on this planet, the ability to speak our truth about things that are happening. And it could be the pesticides, again, disrupting the endocrine system and the bodily systems. It could be the food substances. It could be the emotional stuff going on. But our thyroid is telling us it's time to speak up. It's time to share your truth and witness your truth and bring it to the forefront. And one of the things that I think that we need to do is start to incorporate more sea vegetables into the body, right? A food substance, sea vegetables, like your body is made up of, the majority is water, right? A salt water and a freshwater system. And our salt water is being attacked and our fresh water is being attacked all over the world, right? So I think that sea vegetables are a great addition to the diet to support the thyroid, because it's also going to pull radioactive strontium and radioactive waste out of the body. And I know that this is a gigantic subject, but since 2020, we've been bombarded by higher levels of radiation on the earth, not necessarily from the sun, right? It's coming from 5G is now surrounding the entire planet, right? So we're getting bombarded with higher levels of radiation, Wi-Fi everywhere, right? So again, this is speaking and saying, hey, we need to get reconnected. So I think that there's a lot to do for healing, but it starts with just listening. You know, if the thyroid's out of balance, do we need to look at the food supply, the water supply? What emotionally, do I need to speak something? Do I need to share something? You know, there's so many levels to healing. And, you know, I'm not telling people that if you eat some seaweed, your thyroid's going to heal. It may have to go deeper, right? But that's a great place to start. Nourish the water element in the body. Give it some iodine-rich food to nourish this little baby, right? This little gland that is saying, hey, I need support, right? I'm in here. I need you to support me.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for being able to serve this space. And I know we've been putting different links out there to make sure people connect with you, and also the new community that you're putting together. Can you speak about that as we get ready to shut the doors on this conversation? But this conversation is going to keep going, but just for this live conversation right now, would you like to share?
Yeah.
You have a big venture you're on right now.
Oh yeah. So in the beginning of the year, I was like, okay, I'd like to create a community, a safe space, because of everything that's going on in the world, a place that won't be censored, a place that won't be shut down, right? Taken off the world, right? The social world. You know, some place that's a safe space for people to connect with each other and to share health and wellness with each other, whether it's supplements or herbs or foods or consciousness, but just a safe space. Because as I'm watching what's going on in the world, and I'm watching this noose around the health and wellness community, that we're not allowed to say specific things without fear of getting shut down or, you know, censored or just removed from platforms. And so we started creating the Health is Wealth community. And as fate would have it, we started creating it, and then May we launched it. And then by July, it was by July, my Facebook page was gone. Right? So I was like, oh, okay, that's the first step, right? So I'm like, all right, you know, I know that I was censored on LinkedIn for the things that I was saying. I was censored on Instagram, but this is the first time that an actual page has been completely taken down. So I'm like, okay, so I'm just going to keep moving in this direction of creating a safe space for all people to come. You know, people that want to learn about health and wellness, and people that want to share information about health and wellness and not be afraid that, oh gosh, look, they're now in all the news outlets, they're all saying oh, coronavirus is coming again, and you got this new variant, and that's new. Well, if I were to put up somewhere, hey, take your vitamin D and do some vitamin C and get your lungs ready, do breathing exercises in the morning, get your lungs ready for the onslaught that's coming, it wouldn't be allowed.
Wow.
You know, it'll be shut down, especially come 2024. Anything that steps outside of the WHO recommendations will be shut down. So, so that's what the community is. The community is a safe space for health and wellness. You know, that's what I'm trying to create, so that people can talk freely. You know, you want to talk about what supplements working for you. You want to talk about you got aches and pains. You want some advice. You know, you have something going on. You need some advice that's outside of the legacy media or the World Health Organization. You know, I think even just saying that word, WHO, it's possible that it could be taken down. So I apologize in advance.
It's gone.
I should have used a like a a napkin to write on and just say, oh, this company here.
I'm thinking also just on video, there's going to be able to catch some of those. If anything does HOA or like, it's just,
yes,
yeah,
beep it out.
confusing.
Beep it out. And put up a little thing, beep it out and put this up or something like that, or let people know.
You know, this area here, you know, I believe that we're we're vocals. I mean, healing from thyroid, you and I you're going through that journey, that we're here to really lock arms. Hashtag speaker locking arms, that I got your back. And I love that you're putting this community together. It's so interesting. We're just talking about natural stuff, you know, stuff that grows in the ground, things that, you know, are food and herbs, and talking about taking things. It's so interesting how you get attacked on that. It's just like, it's natural stuff that's there. When you are in the mainstream big conglomerate of stuff, I just don't see how you couldn't just speak about, well, that ache, well, my doctor didn't say that there's anything wrong. Perfect. What about that ache though? Why don't you go do some basil, you know, and start talking. What's wrong with that? Because all of a sudden, why do I feel better? I don't know, because I don't know anything about my body. And it's that conversation that is something that in the scared factor. And I know that when we stay in the brain, that fight or flight. So to be in that deeper spirit and have a safe space that you're creating is important. So then you can start hearing yourself and learning about what you're doing. So Andrea, anything else I didn't cover that you would like to share before I end this wonderful conversation?
Oh, well, you know, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that you're in the world. I'm grateful that any wellness practitioner is in the world and expressing, you know, and doing things that are creating another voice outside of the other narrative that is trying to keep people in fear and afraid of this and afraid of that. I think that human beings are really powerful creatures. Like, we are amazing power, and you're an example of that, and I'm an example of that we are powerful, and more powerful than we've been led to believe. And I think that if we can help people break out of that fear paradigm and that fear factor, I think that the whole world will be a better place.
I hear the word love. That's what's coming to me right now. Love. I'm describing it. Just love. If we have more love in the world, it transformed my relationships. It's transformed my body in the way, like, I want to say purr again. I don't usually say that, but today I'm feeling like it's like purrs. Like it's like, man, I'm happy. But that love is it connects you to your higher source. And
yes.
that's beautiful. Like, I feel like Anna is around today with our conversation, Andrea. I've been having these different things come up that are like, oh, Rhonda, you're on the right track. And so if we can keep listening to our angels, listening to or seeing, asking, understanding that you are at a higher purpose, and anybody around you that may be naysaying you, closing you down because they're afraid of what their journey is, that doesn't sound like what yours is. This is a beautiful journey you're on, and you could never be wrong if you keep listening to yourself. And that's why Fresh Talks Global Vision is here. That's why we are hashtag speaker locking arms. Remember, when you do something and you create a smile for somebody, or you're in the holistic business and you're creating big business, you go out there, you say what's really important to you. Yeah, you might get closed down, but the thing is, people are always listening. There's always places to go. And that's what I love about Andrea bringing a community together, because I found it very interesting that she was doing that. If you want to be a speaker on this show, we usually do 17 minute talking about your global vision, talking about what you do in your gems, and you can kind of relate it to a TED talk. I want you to talk to me about that. I love holding space for the vocals, and we are coming in September, the last Thursday every month. We usually come in, and I want you to be able to powerhouse it. I'd love to host you, because this experience that we're talking about, that I got to hold space for Andrea Beaman. Yay! I'm a superstar friend. I appreciate you.
Way more than 17 minutes.
I know, like only 17 minutes. Let me just tie it up, because Andrea Beaman actually did do a TED talk too. She's on stage doing her talk. So you go check that out too. And I didn't be on your website, but I did the andreabeaman.com, because some people are like, oh, hey, I want to know, just to know more about. Okay, so we got that. But we also got something that is going to take you right in, so you can read and learn more about her community. Go in there. This is about taking action. This is when you first hear that yes, you flow with that. The more that you give yourself that second guess, second question of, oh no, maybe nothing. Oh no. Give yourself the space to listen to your body. How does your body react? And you're going to notice something. Get curious about it, because your body always tells you when there's a yes there. Just keep listening. Andrea Beaman, I appreciate you. Love you, my friend.
Thanks,
Love
Rhonda.
you, the Fresh Inspiration Show. Oh, that was our past name, Fresh Talks Global Vision. Love you. Be connected. Thank you for hosting us. I love being able to go live in a couple places. I appreciate you. I appreciate your journey. I love you.
Oh, I love you too.
Fresh